pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged the bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I just want to live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Grand Rising, good morning. Happy Thursday to all y'all out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. It has been such a phenomenal week here at the Paramount. And you guys know we do this as a team. Me and my guy, Big O, on the set. What up, Big O?
Trey Holiday, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, my friend? How are you today?
I'm feeling good. My mama in the audience today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm all smiles over here now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know what? That's what it's been this whole week, man. We've been getting it done and making it happen, but I'm so thankful when we can have beautiful folks like your mom and Miss Patricia Valentine, one of my mamas in here.
In the building.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome you to the Morning Update Show. And remind you that right now is a perfect opportunity to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Man, the podcast, the numbers have been going up. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you find your favorite podcast. That's SoundCloud. They got in the links right there, but you can also find us on Google, Spotify, iTunes, and a whole bunch of other places where you listen to your podcast. What else do we got right here? Oh, it's still no excuse. It's definitely no excuses season now. A great way to support Black-owned independent media while letting people know moments, no excuses, is to visit whereweconverge.com/shop. Pick up a no excuses t-shirt or sweatshirt. And we're going to get to it here in a minute, but turnout now is at 38%. So it's going up. It's above 35. They're still counting and everything else, but it's going up.
You know what? That's always a good sign when it's better than the numbers from before. So kudos to all y'all who made it out there to make sure your voice was heard and that ballot was in the drop box.
Yeah, and a few people reached out to me and told me why they didn't vote as well. We got some real solid feedback on that. Want to remind everybody around this vaccine, man. The vaccine is readily available here in King County. We got a link right there. You can click, and man, you can get vaccinated. What you want to do? All three vaccines are readily available. That's Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and in some cases, depending upon your need, people can come to your home if you need to get vaccinated in home. So it's out there. It's readily available, and yeah, man, it's still a lot of hesitancy out there though, Trey.
No, there really is. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that when we see this Delta variant coming up and folks that have been vaccinated are, not remiss from, being able to still carry the virus, give it to others. So it really bodes a lot of different questions that are out there. I think ultimately what we dealt with in the beginning of the morning update show was the confusion around all of this, man. And so I understand, some of that hesitancy out there, man. I get it.
Well, it's crazy too, because I mean, some people, it's a lot of people are hesitant about the vaccine and they have their reasons for being hesitant. But there's a lot of people who are hesitant because of misinformation as well. And we got to remember that all the way around this virus, we have been impacted by misinformation. Remember early on, it was like, hey, this is just old white folks disease. Or virus or whatever. And, it was a lot of people in our community who didn't take it as serious because it was like, oh, you know what, it's not impacting us, everything else. And we come to find out that in a lot of cases, the death rate for Black people is some cases 3 times higher.
Yeah.
And, early on, a lot of people in our community disregarded it.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, we had to really do some myth busting in the beginning. We had to bring on Dr. Mook to make sure we understood even why we're using, certain levels of alcohol to really break down the proteins in the virus. I remember those. I remember those live, studio science experiments he was sharing with us so that we can understand fully from a scientific level what we're dealing with. It really was helpful.
Right. And if you're hesitant about the vaccine, like, man, we want to leave space and make space for conversation here. You know what I'm saying? We're talking to people, our vaccine diaries, our vaccine hesitancy and why people got the vaccine. We want to talk to you. Send me an email, Omari, OMARI @whereweconverge.com. Still got this messaging going from S. around the street cafes. I think there it is right there. Mm-hmm. Island Soul. That's a great example of how they've made space out there, in the streets, unless you're looking for parking. But but for me and you, we're looking for good food and some drink. So it all makes sense. But survey going right now, and it ends on the 15th, and so they want to know your thoughts from people and business owners on how you feel about these street cafes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one sacrifice for another, right? At the end of the day, I think we've learned so much about how the restaurant industry, I mean, as so many other industries were heavily impacted, but even as restrictions are lifted, they're still dealing with a shortage of staff. So there's a lot of different reasons why these restaurants are needing innovation. So clearly, you guys can tell all week I've been talking about how I'm for all of this, but if you're for it or against it, make sure you fill out that survey so that we can get your voice in the box so we can understand where people are at with it.
Yeah, speaking of the box, we're gonna hit the election stuff here in a minute, but I'm always moving so fast here at the Paramount. Forgot to mention our great lineup of guests here today. We have Auntie Stephanie Johnson-Toliver, Black Heritage Society of Washington State. We're gonna be talking about the history of some of these great theaters that are under the Seattle Theater Group. We have Etienne and Ellie, choreographers working with projects here at STG, and I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's got going on. Actually, we got a short video, don't we, Ike, of some of their work?
So exciting. I mean, I've been able to be an audience member for Dance This. It's an amazing show. So I'm excited that they're here today, man, to dive into it.
Man, that looked relaxing. I
Yeah.
would.
Let us get to the beach, the water.
Look, I was ready to just keep letting the video play. I was like, "Oh, word!
They may have to
Is
teach
that
us
how we
that.
doing it?" Man, we've also got recording artist Betty Michaels in the building. That's going to be great. We're just checking out the sound check there. And finally, live here on the Morning Update Show, we've played a lot of her stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of it's been timely. This whole the year that we've been putting Tia Naché on. You know, it was something. It was a protest, and then Black Love. Remember Black Love? Black Love. We played that a few times.
Hey, it was so good. It had to be played a few times. So
Yeah.
I am elated that my girl, Miss Tia Naché, is here to give us the dopeness on the mic live in full effect, man.
Yeah, Tia was part of the Elevate program that was here too.
Yeah. So lots of history Tia's had with STG, and I'm excited to dive in with her later on in the show.
All right. So let's get into the numbers that haven't changed a lot from yesterday, but there was 15,000 more votes that were added yesterday at 4 p.m. Not much change, but we'll go through this. We'll put up the mayor's race first. And what the mayor here, Bruce Harrell at 38% and Gonzalez at 28.6%. You know, the race hasn't been called yet. Justin Farrell did concede, but you know, of course, we're going to wait for the official results to come in. Still a lot of votes to get counted. There's some that at this point are mathematically excluded. They haven't conceded yet, but clearly Harrell and Gonzalez, the front runners to go head off for the mayor's race.
Yeah, this is something that is so intriguing. I mean, when we had so many of these candidates on talking about their platforms, I know Bruce Harrell was saying, look, you know, I want to be there and bring my lived experience from, you know, not just being a community member, but being in city council at one point. And I really think that the point you made around the mayor's race in particular about how Seattle is saying that they want change, but then we end up with two folks that have held the seat of the city council president. It really is intriguing, man. I don't know how much we want, but you know, the fact that Bruce is up in these numbers may indicate that they're looking for even more diversity than what they have right now. And we've been talking about the fact that there's no Black person in the city council. So maybe having a Black person lead the city of Seattle may be some of that change that people were talking about they want.
Well, I mean, the odds were good for a Black man. There were six that ran, you know, out of the 16 candidates. So, you know, if you were to go to the odds makers, you know what I'm saying, the odds were one somebody was going to actually get through this. But it's true that that for as much as we as a city, and like I said, the votes, they're still counting votes, but you know, these numbers are out there right now. It's so that we as a city, we might have said that we wanted to see something different. We might have said that we wanted to see some other things. But like I said, you have a current city council president and a past city council president. And maybe down deep what Seattle is saying is they want people who actually have experience in City Hall as opposed to people who don't necessarily have experience in City Hall.
Well, yeah, and I think some of this is about, you know, how do you learn from the lessons while you're there? Ultimately, you know, there's something to be said about understanding what didn't work and doing new measures right now. I think that that's really key as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So here's the thing is, right, with Bruce Harrell and with Lorena Gonzalez, it's going to be interesting to talk to them and see where they're different. Yeah. Right. It's like, okay, like where are you guys different? Where do you see things different? However, when it comes to the race for position 9, it's city council position 9. I don't think we need to ask that question. But right now, you've got Sarah Nelson at 42.8% and Nikita Oliver at 35%. And yeah, we kind of know where the differences are right off the bat between Sarah Nelson and Nikita Oliver. I look forward to actually talking to both of them, though. But yeah, Sarah Nelson up in these numbers here, 42.8%.
Well, you know, this is really intriguing because I think we've been able to follow all of the endorsements that Nikita did receive during the campaign trail. So, you know, when we talk about how these numbers are going to settle, when we think about the general election, I mean, honestly, there's a way that some of those votes sway either way. I mean, so that's what's kind of interesting to me, to kind of see how it like settles once we get to that point. I don't know, man. I know this
race,
is still a fight.
Listen, position 9. Now it's going to be interesting with Harold and Gonzalez, because it's like they agree on a lot of stuff. It's just like, maybe approach and this and that. There are some, I mean, clearly Gonzalez is going to be running on her current record, whether you could find that current record good or find that current record bad. Harold's going to be running on what he did previously. But, Gonzalez it's real life stuff that's happening right now in our city. And, while she's been council president, but a lot of issues, like I said, they agree upon it. That's not necessarily the case when you talk about position 9 with Sarah Nelson, Nikita Oliver. And I think that is going to be the race when we talk about a polarizing race in the city. Yeah. That position 9, if the numbers hold, that's going to be it. Little change here in county executive. Dow Constantine up to a very big lead out there, 53.6% of the vote, and Joe Wynn at 29.7% of that vote. Looks like numbers hold. Well, clearly Dow's going through, and it looks like that most likely be going head up with Joe Wynn.
Yeah, I mean, I think throughout the campaign trail, what we've been able to see from Joe Wynn, just him being on the Morning Update show and really talking about his platform, so much of it is about understanding what Dow has been doing wrong. And he's been talking about bringing in some new approaches, new strategies, his lived experience, right? Talking about this from a community perspective, a lot of the things that he has mentioned and has been like standing on and creating pillars around is really identifying the diversity of voices that's needed. It's listening to the people. So this will be really interesting, because again, I feel like, okay, once we get down to those final 2 candidates, the general election is going to showcase a whole nother story, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why there's a lot of stuff. People were like, hell, you guys, you should be doing this or form that, this and that. And I'm just like, let's see who gets through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, also the other thing as well, especially the race for mayor, is up to this point, everybody has run against Mayor Durkin. You know what I'm saying? No one has run against each other. They're all like, well, the Mayor Durkin didn't do this, Mayor Durkin. So I was waiting for that window to pass. You know what I'm saying? And now let's see these people run against each other as opposed to running against establishment. So it'd be interesting. And then the last piece here, we don't have a slide for this. It's too much information. My friend, City Attorney Pete Holmes is holding on by a chitty chin chin. He's actually second place right now with the numbers, but it's definitely too close to call or speculate between Ann Davison, between Pete Holmes and Thomas.
Yeah. Nicole, right?
Yeah. NKT.
Yeah.
NTK. It's too close to call.
Yeah.
Which is also like real interesting, right? Because it's really split 30-30-30. And is that the way like our city is? Our city's like, okay, for city attorney, we want to go 30% right, 30% kind of in the middle, and then 30% left. You know what I'm saying? Although I did that right. But it's it's close there. They're gonna be counting those votes and recounting for city attorney.
This is really, really an interesting race. I mean, when you have somebody who is, very proud to be an abolitionist in the runnings of city attorney, I think it says a lot about kind of where we're at as a city. And when you talk about this kind of 30-30 split, I know it's got a lot of people really paying close attention right now. I think that's what makes it exciting when they get close, when the elections are like, oh man, because honestly, it showcases the diversity of our city in Seattle. And it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. We don't have that much excitement happening in Federal Way necessarily. So I'm paying a close attention to this one, man.
It's a lot of people paying close attention for sure. So that's the update on the numbers. And of course, we'll see who continues to concede, and then we'll also see once these results are certified here, and then we go into the big race. So and I did reach out, man. I said yesterday why some people did not vote, and I got a few emails back, and some of the responses were people were out of town. They didn't they missed their window to be able to mail and things like that, but they're looking forward to the general election. A few people just didn't like any of the candidates. It was just none of the above. But you can always write. You can always write in somebody too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's been a few elections where people have just written in. You write in who you want.
I mean, well, that's the thing that gets really difficult, right? Because if you're not really moved by any of the candidates in particular, what do you really do? I mean, I feel like I've heard that kind of, strategy before or approach being like, look, man, even if I write somebody in, it's not like they're going to win. Do I want to even be down there? Do I want to, utilize my time that way? But that's the part right there.
It
If you're not
shows
feeling
up, though.
nobody, it gets tough.
At the end of the day, they actually put the roster out there. If you know what I'm saying, you got to write it. The vote is there. We just don't want you to waste your vote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The vote's important. All right. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, it's Thursday, so it's Throwback Thursday. We're taking it down memory lane. We've got Stephanie Johnson-Toliver, the Black Heritage Society of Washington State. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006, with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show, and it is a pleasure and an honor to welcome Stephanie Johnson-Toliver, Black Heritage Society of Washington State. How are you?
Yes.
Hi, Amari. I'm fantastic. Sitting here between you two, feeling the electricity.
Oh, we're so glad you're here.
Man, it's really, when I say a pleasure, it's always a pleasure to have you on here. I mean, you and the BHS have really become like so interwoven, not only in this show but in Converge. It's a guiding light. You know what I'm saying? I always bounce a lot of stuff off of you because getting to know you better is you come to think, and especially a lot of the stuff that goes around the history of last summer's events, is you think of it now in a historical perspective. So before I do anything, I'm always trying to talk to you to be like, well, what are people going to think 30 years from now of a decision that we might have made today?
Well, see, I love that. We need that T-shirt. What would Stephanie say? I'm like, yeah. But yeah, I totally understand and appreciate you two for pumping me up and bringing the history nerd out in me and being able to share it with the community.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's so important too. I mean, when we think about a lot of different things, we realize how important it really is. And there's so much history that hasn't been shared, as we're just kind of righting the wrongs of the education system, not teaching us a lot about particularly local history that really allows us to be in bed with all of the landmarks and the things that have been laid out before us to kind of grow from. So appreciate your knowledge.
Exactly, Trey. I'm a a student of Seattle Public Schools, so I hear you. So you've got to look and dig deep for yourself. But the Black Heritage Society is helping to make that possible.
There we go.
All right. So we the three theaters here, the Seattle Theater Group, are the stewards of is the Moore Theater, the Neptune Theater, and of course right here in the Paramount. And so we wanted to reach out to you to talk a little bit of a history about the Black experience in some of these theaters over time. And actually, we can benchmark that as maybe how times have changed.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say and give a huge shout out to the Seattle Theater Group for reaching out to me and my partners. I have two fabulous partners, Jackie Peterson and Ryan Donaldson, who've been working on a project for the Seattle Theater Group to look at some history of theater 1900 to 1930s and how our community was allowed access or not access to entertainment and recreation in the city. So we've been finding some really interesting facts. But again, we're looking at what the community was like during that period and the influence of the times and the vibe.
So first up here, we've got a montage here of the
Oh.
Moore Theater, and you'll
Cool.
see it right up here.
We don't.
No? Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
No more.
That's-
Well,
okay,
let's
that's
talk
okay.
about the Moore though, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of history here. And some of the things that you sent over is that the birth of a Nation played there. They had the Klan on stage, a side entrance.
Birth of a Nation. And when you look chronologically at how the theaters came on and how the community was responding and or reacting to what was being portrayed in the theaters is really interesting. So when you look at as early as 1890, when there was a public accommodations law that was one of the first civil rights law here in the state of Washington, brought by Owen Bush, George Bush's son, to open up spaces and not restrict it to Black people or other people of color. So that was as early as 1890. So when you have the Moore opening in 1907, and we know that famous side door that was talked about so eloquently and boldly at Elevate this last February. You start to think, well, there were these laws on the books, but people were still willing to restrict the space, not only for our audiences, but for the performers. So at the Moore Theater, there originally they brought vaudeville and the minstrel shows with the black face. And so we didn't see Black entertainers on the stage. It was more white folks in blackface. And then, of course, the upper balcony. And the Klansmen came to the Moore in 1908. And so the second year after the opening of the theater, and it was a onstage production, kind of a redo of the novel by Mr. Dixon, and was actually pretty well received in the city. So we move forward just a bit to 1915, and the Moore Theater brings the film Birth of a Nation to the city.
Wow.
Yeah, and but famously too, and you'll read about Letitia Graves, who was the president. She was the first president of the NAACP. Started a huge campaign with letter writing and protests. She failed in that protest, but it was loud and clear that the Black people in Seattle were highly upset about it. And Horace Caton would write from the Seattle Republican. He felt that we should just ignore it, let it pass, and it'll die down. The Birth of a Nation, again, 1921. was coming back to Seattle, but based on that previous campaign that was led by the NAACP, it was shut down. We had a president of the city council at that time who said, okay, it's not going to happen. We're going to shut it down. And that was brought about by the Black community and, their campaign. So, again, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
way back then. I think that, when you talk about bringing this history to bear right now, right, and
Mhm.
working with Seattle Theater Group, there's such an amazing way to cement that history in artistry. And I know they did that with Elevate. What are some
Yeah.
of the things that you're excited about in terms of working directly with Seattle Theater Group to make sure that they have a real rich understanding of this history?
Right. Well, first, again, just the opportunity of being able to dig deep into this history. It's something that in the back of my mind, I knew it was there, but really hadn't started, digging until they brought it to my attention. So that's what I really appreciate about this project. And so we're looking across all three of the venues. Right. So not just the Moore Theater, but the Neptune that opened in 1921 and then the Paramount 1928.
Wow.
Right. I think do we have that clip?
Oh.
That's
Oh, yeah. So there you go. Right.
That's
There's
the
the
Moore.
more. This is really interesting. If you can see, is that I asked our friends at the Museum of History and Industry to blow up that one photo, that one image of the side door. And then here you can see the stage production of the Klansmen, and then the poster. You saw a view of the poster of Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation. Moving on to the Neptune Theater, and I
Mm.
guess we'll put up a few images here on the Neptune.
Yeah. Okay. That looks like the Roycroft
That's the
right
Roycroft right
there.
And then we go over to
So
there's the Neptune.
So with the Neptune coming on in 1921, I mean, it was just post World War One. Folks the Black community was, they were struggling for jobs at that time. The population in Seattle, Black population was around, 2,800, as opposed to 1900, there were just 400 Black people in Seattle. And so post World War One, there was this real push for community theaters. People were putting their eyes on not so much what was happening abroad, but what was happening nationally and locally, and putting our money and our interest into that. So you had these neighborhood theaters like the Neptune that were built. The property originally owned by the Freed family, and there's a really great photo of them at their home on the corner of 45th and Brooklyn prior to the Neptune being built. They had their home in 1906. It was, again, 1921 when the theater was built. So a real push on the community theaters. And but Black people, I mean, leisure income there wasn't so much leisure income. Let me put it that way in the Black community. It wasn't like, you had, the pocketbook on the side and said, hey kids, hey family, let's go on down to the movies. So the Neptune was silent films, and vaudeville is how it originally came online. And you would see later in our community theaters like the Roycroft. That was a really great photo of the Roycroft that was on 19th and Roy, in our community. So Black people were finding their way in the community, finding entertainment and recreation within the community, and not so much in downtown Seattle.
Yeah, it was we hear all these stories how it was a big deal. I remember we were talking about the YMCA and the Friday Nights at the Y, because that's where a lot of entertainment was happening in community. That was a big deal if you actually performed downtown, if you're a Black entertainer.
Oh yeah, if you had an opportunity to perform downtown, and that was more like 1930s,
yeah,
we were pushing it.
Right.
And yeah, that was an awesome gig if you could get it. Right. I guess.
Right.
So
and we'll move along right here to the Paramount. We've got a few a few images right here.
Yeah. So there's the Paramount, this fabulous palace, and look at that beautiful lobby, and then actually the stage. So I saw you the other day standing on the stage, and were you singing Annie? I, you know,
Hey, hold
I
on, you
think.
guys broadcast? Oh, you know, if it was on my social, I was about to say they
And
weren't supposed to be putting this stuff out.
okay, I just had to put that
I
out
was
there.
singing tomorrow.
But that's such a beautiful stage, and standing on that stage is absolutely fabulous. So again, the Paramount coming on 1928. This was just pre Depression, right? So this fabulous theater was to cater to the community, this beautiful palace, and then the Depression hits, and again, people looking at leisure income that wasn't really there in our community, and so they were finding their way, like they always have. Our community is a resilient community, and so we found it in recreation and entertainment. And recreation wise, people were coming out on Sundays to baseball at Garfield Park. We had black baseball in the park every Sunday. It brought community together. The community theaters I talked about, the Roycroft, the Anzier that was on just off of 22nd and Madison. And then the club scene, the jazz scene started to build. And you were seeing artists come and perform at various clubs in central Seattle, but around Seattle as well. So.
Well, there's such a rich history of the talent. I mean, we've talked about this before, and the fact that, right now there's a real push for Seattle Theater Group to be intentional about working even more alongside community to bring the access to these amazing theaters to community members. I think that that's really exciting. But as you just described, it's kind of a part of like folks seeing Seattle as a great place to come and bring their talent too.
Right. To bring their talent here. But good point, Trey, that Seattle Theater Group right now, and I think that David Allen yesterday put it so well in terms of reflecting the face of the city, of the community. What does that look like?
Right. I think that STG and other venue owners now more than ever, they have to. I mean, it's their responsibility to be intentional, because see, one thing when you talk about, and you're the historian, so you stop me if I'm wrong here, but one thing you talk about, especially the Black community in this city, is that because of land ownership, we always had our own venues, our juke joints, or we figure it out in our neighborhood and in our community. And as we've seen this city change, not only have the number of venues and places in our community, but across the city as a whole, a lot of places where, I always tell people all the time, like really good bands start off as bad bands who go to like the local bar and they play, and you go to this, a venue and you play. A lot of the venues in Seattle have disappeared. I mean, they're now high rises and wine bars and everything else. And so it's like the spaces that we used to have, and not just STG, there's other venue owners here, I'm speaking broadly, the spaces that we used to have that they could cater and develop music in our community, they're no longer there.
No, but we have these fabulous programs now. And yesterday I heard you had a performer here who talked about Totem Star. And so you have organizations like that are promoting, the entertainment and the creativity in our young people. And here as well, Elevate again. Shakia, I don't know. She's around, but shout out to Nakia Danielson with Elevate. And when you look at Sean Roberts and Ellie Camp, the summer musicals, Dance That or Dance This, and all of these different programs that are out there and available. And Stage now opening their venues and looking a little more diverse, and especially when I look at the the bill at the Neptune. So I'm excited about what the Seattle Theater Group is doing and how they're encouraging young people.
Well, that's great. That's all I was going to ask you, literally, is from your perspective, when you're so steeped in this amazing, rich history, when you think about it in 20 years, you know,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you are really hoping we learn from in terms of the historical lessons that we bring to bear when it comes to places like Paramount and the other theater groups that they manage?
Right. I think it's all about lifting our community, recognizing it, talking about it like we're talking about it today. We're just touching on just, a little bit of that. But if we can talk more about how our past influences our present and future, I'm all about that. So anytime you want to bring me out to talk about that, and I'm happy to do it.
Right
All right,
on.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
I don't know why I said that, didn't I? I said it.
You,
Oh no, it's recorded.
take you up on that for sure. And I just want to tell you that we appreciate the work of the Black Heritage Society of Washington State. I mean, you're an anchor, you're grounded, and I'll say this before we let you go, is that I would Stephanie would tell you, man, like we was out there covering protests and CHOP and stuff like that, man, and I would just call her and I just need somebody to listen, and I call her because I'd be wondering, like I'd be questioning myself, like what are we even out here for? And it wasn't like Stephanie would say like you need to stay out there, but it was always like
Get out there.
this is where history needs you to be.
Mhm.
And I appreciate all them phone calls that you take from me sometimes late at night in the middle of the CHOP, because I was trying to figure out like why are we still here?
Yeah, it's all about purpose, right? And when you find that purpose, follow it, don't deny it, don't turn away from it. So you were in the right place at the right time, and I believe that with you, Trey, that all that you're doing too in the community, that it's all about purpose. So let's just keep up the good work, and you'll hear more from BHS in the next few months as we have a new project with the Green Book and the sites that are within the series of the Green Book here in Seattle.
Amazing.
All right. Stephanie Johnson-Toliver, thank you so much for joining us. And I know we're going to have you back on again real soon.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being
Great.
with us. Always
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break right now. We come back. I'm talking to Etienne and Ellie, choreographers working on different projects here at Seattle Theater Group. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey Seattle, if you're trying to find something to do this summer, I got the perfect thing for you. Come on down to Seattle Waterfront's Pier 62 and enjoy free, yes free, family-friendly events all summer long, like art, dance, music, storytelling. And if you're trying to get that body right before the summer is over, you might as well join their free yoga and fitness classes. Head on over to Waterfront Park Seattle for a full summer schedule of vibes you don't want to miss.
Hey, it's me, downtown Seattle, C-Town. Wish you were here. Here, to explore inside, outside, and everywhere in between. Where it's easy to get my good side. Here, where my rooftops invite you to come early and stay late. Where every view is a postcard, and each night out might be your best night ever. See you soon. Love, C-Town.
The Morning Update Show is going back on the road, and this time we're headed to Seattle's iconic Paramount Theater. Join me, Trey Holiday, and the rest of the Morning Update Show crew August 2nd through August 6th as we broadcast live from one of Seattle's most iconic landmarks and put a focus on the arts, culture, and music right here in the Emerald City. That's the Morning Update Show live from the Paramount Theater, August 2nd through August 6th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., streaming across all Converge media platforms.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And boy, oh boy, we told y'all these next couple of days here on the show are going to be packed. So joining me live on the set right now is Etienne and Ellie. They're going to be talking a little bit more about their choreography and dance this. Thanks, you guys, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we played a little bit of a clip earlier, and before we play the full clip, I just want to kind of ask you guys a little bit about your dance backgrounds. I'll start with you, Ellie. When did you start dancing, and how did you get connected with Etienne?
Ooh. I started dancing in the late 70s in Minneapolis, where I'm from. Pretty hardcore right from the beginning. I think my parents took me to one performance and it was on. Haven't stopped since, probably never will. And moved to Seattle maybe 20 something years ago and pretty quickly met up with this guy. I think we met up at Velocity Dance Center. I think he used to take my class back in the day. And as far as him and I, man, it just stuck.
Wow. Wow. Etienne, you aren't originally from Seattle, right? So like let's hear a little bit about your background and what brought you here.
My name is Etienne Cakpo, and I'm from Benin, West Africa. I'm a choreographer, dancer. I am the director of Gansango Music and Dance.
Wow.
And I started dancing when I was in my mommy's belly. And dance is my love. I love dancing. I love teaching. I love sharing because African dance is huge for me.
Yeah. And it has such a rich history. I mean, we were just talking to Stephanie Johnson-Toliver about so much of the history. And when we think about dance and choreography, it's been an expression, right? For different cultures, a real expression. I want to get into this clip so we can show the folks what you guys do. Let's roll that clip, y'all. Wow. What an amazing lineup right there. Let's get into the details of Dance This. How did you guys get connected with Seattle Theater Group to help be a part of this amazing show?
I started with Seattle Theater Group. I think I've been in the STG family about almost 15 years now. Pulled in to start teaching at intensive, Dance This intensive that happens here in Seattle. It's a week-long program for youth coming from all of the edges of the city. And I think after my very first class, I found a home in this program just because of all the different people in the studio with me. Everybody's scared, everybody's vulnerable. And by the end of that first hour and a half, they were ready to explore deeper. And so I've stayed with the family. They've kept me. I'm not going anywhere.
Wow, absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys did you guys come into STG as a duo already? Or you said you were by yourself and then you guys connected?
Yeah, we became as individuals. We met at the camp. So I teach at the intensive in the city. And then there's also an amazing camp in Fort Worden at Port Townsend. And I believe that's where we re-met.
Click there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Etienne, I mean, a lot of this stuff is really showcasing to youth how important dance is. How is that for you in terms of connecting with Seattle Theater Group and, Dance This and the youth being able to kind of, learn from your experiences?
Yeah, now, I'm working with Seattle Theater Group now 20 years.
Wow.
And for me, teach dance to these kids and collaborating with different group is very important. Like I said from the beginning, the African dance is huge. And to study African dance is not 2 years, it's not 5 years, it's your whole life. Mm-hmm. And work with Seattle Theater Group and travel to Port Townsend and work with the kid there. It brings me who I am and share the culture where I come from.
Yeah, so much of dance is culture, right? And it looks like we showed a little bit of a clip of you guys and you guys doing a piece together.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that piece? It looks like maybe it was a blend. Maybe you guys are blending your different styles. What was that like for you guys to work together on that piece?
Now, I think when we met in Port Townsend, we always want to work together. But this opportunity come and we say, okay, let's go back there. And when we get there, we find ourselves that, okay, here we are now, and the idea just start to come. Like dance with this beautiful choreographer. She's awesome. And we just click and create.
Wow.
I raised you 20. Yeah, I think about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe a little less, we just started talking. I think you saw me improvise. He was playing the drums and we did kind of like a faculty jam. And he just, afterward, he just wouldn't stop staring at me. He was like, who are you? What are you? What's happening? And so we've just been talking ever since about wanting to gather. And I often don't bring a specific idea or even movement with me when I'm creating. Especially through the STG programming, I like to just come rough, rugged, raw, because those children bring things as well.
Yeah.
So I believe for me, I came to Port Townsend just to see my friend here,
Yeah.
the king. And the minute we just opened our arms and started moving, it was like, we're two very unique individual people, but there's some kind of seed that is the same variety between us. So the movement just started unfurling.
Now, for me, like I said, a dance, we are messenger. When you dance, you send the message. And when you send the message, you can have different idea in your mind, but when you dance, those who's watching you, they are seeing different things. Is why dance is good.
Well, you know what? You guys are inspiring me. Let's make sure the folks out there know when Dance This is happening, how they can plug in. You guys and your piece just looks phenomenal. Clearly, there's been some change here too, because with COVID, it hit the art scene hard. I mean, just in general, right? You know, folks aren't gathering to come and see dance, like that. So, you guys have made your own transition. How can folks tap into what you guys were able to create at Dance This?
August 13th. The beauty of this program, even with COVID going on still, is that everybody's invited.
Wow.
That's another thing I love about STG is no one has ever turned away for any reason, anywhere, any which way, any program. So August 13th, it's going to be an online virtual event, which means people from all over the world, as long as they can hook up with the YouTube. I know my family in Minneapolis will be watching. People in North Carolina will be watching.
And people in Africa watching.
Amen.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Dance This, August 13th, virtual event. They can find all the information at STG's website, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you guys have been phenomenal. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today on the Morning Update Show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, I feel the energy. I feel the vibe. Yeah.
I was going to just say, I'm surprised we're not dancing. He and I are usually moving, but.
Well, thank you guys so much again. Oh, man, I am feeling the vibe, and we are going to continue to feel these vibes right there down on the stage. We got Betty Michaels coming up next. You guys stay tuned right after this short break. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. Thanks for sticking with us. And we got some amazing talent right here on the Paramount stage. Betty Michaels is about to perform Best for You.
Should I extend a loving hand, or should I let you learn for yourself with no help from me or anyone else? Should I be your only friend, lend you both my ears and all of my head, or just wait for you while you crawl through emotional haze? I want the best for you. Yeah, I want to help you through. I want to help you see the way your choices shape the ones you claim to love, who so desperately try to love you. And I want to help you be the person that you were meant to be. But you just have to walk right through uncertainty. I want the best for you. Yeah, I want to help you through.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006, with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
The Morning Update show is going back on the road, and this time we're headed to Seattle's iconic Paramount Theater. Join me, Trey Holiday, and the rest of the Morning Update show crew August 2nd through August 6th as we broadcast live from one of Seattle's most iconic landmarks and put a focus on the arts, culture, and music right here in the Emerald City. That's the Morning Update show live from the Paramount Theater, August 2nd through August 6th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., streaming across all Converge media platforms.
Hey Seattle, if you're trying to find something to do this summer, I got the perfect thing for you. Come on down to Seattle Waterfront's Pier 62 and enjoy free, yes free, family-friendly events all summer long, like art, dance, music, storytelling. And if you're trying to get that body right before the summer is over, you might as well join their free yoga and fitness classes. Head on over to Waterfront Park Seattle for a full summer schedule of vibes you don't want to miss.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update show. Trey Holiday here. I get to introduce my girl, Tia Naché Yarbrough. She's about to break y'all off with her piece, More Doors.
Thank you. Told to stand and wait. Told that the back were for the blacks and the doors were for the free. Our lives, the fee to simply be seen in line, in time. We have waited at justice's door, but she has been perpetually late and locked, despite how loud and long hope has knocked. Knuckles and fists bruised by disappointment, voices tired from asking for access, at best a chance to enter from the front. A backstage door at the Moore is a direct affront. We've turned knobs over and over with no luck. See, you think it's the door, but it's you that's stuck, be it made of wood or steel. We are still waiting in line for a turn, a time, but today I've come to take what's mine. To demand what man has held as his privilege to give. See, God is who established my right to live, so you can't lock no doors around here. There's something dangerous about the persistence of pain. In the cold of confrontation we stood. In the heat of hate our faith said we could stand. Feet blistered by betrayal, but our history says we're able to stand, so pick a line. Despite a segregated sign, an entrance we'll find, cause we the kind that make seats, that make room, that make more at a less. See, the last time I checked, the last were the blessed, so know that I've arrived. Be it from the back or the side I'm in, after I've been the incessant pound, the never-ending bang, the continuous doorbell clang. I will not stop. We've been halted by hate, mandated to wait for subpar access at best, but hand-me-downs and leftovers will not be our legacy. Our entry demands the grandeur that any royal deserves, and although this country has been white preferred, we'll never defer. Our knocks loud like Glocks. See, if Harriet didn't escape, it may have forced Rosa to wait, and if Maya didn't write, Kamala may have never entered this fight. So from now on, I'll take my justice from the front, and I don't mean a bullet to the chest. See, this knock knock, this knock knock, this knock knock is that civil unrest. I suggest you answer, because I'm definitely not a joke. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All these snaps out there. And, ooh! Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, Tia, you have been blazing trails, spitting hot fire like this for a long time. Let's get right to it about what got you saying, I'm going to put my pen to this paper and I'm going to start bringing my passion in this way?
You know, it's been a blessing. I think it was a gift from God that I buried a little while ago, and I think the pandemic offered up an opportunity for a resurgence, and I think it just gave us an opportunity to be reflective about what matters, what gives us joy, what fills our hearts, and what inspires us. And so I've been writing since I was 9 years old. You and I go way back.
Yes.
So high school through college, and then you have that transition time. You get married, kids, profession, and then you start to think about what fills you in addition to all the things that are filling you now. And so I had a chance to return to my gift, and I've just been blessed to have some opportunity. I told God, I was like, yo, I'm just going to write and I'll see what happens. And so this has just been a part of that process. And so thank you today for having me here.
Oh my gosh. Of course. I was so honored that you were able to move some things around your busy schedule, because I know it gets busy, but we are so appreciative that you brought your talent here. And you've been working with Seattle Theater Group. Stephanie Johnson-Toliver talked about the Elevate program earlier. How was that for you? Because it wasn't just about you being your own spoken word artist. It was about giving to the youth.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the things, one of the highlights during the pandemic as we start to navigate through all the stress and drama and trauma that is this experience. I think the Elevate came as kind of a life raft, as a lifesaver for me in some ways. Being back in front of kids, we had students returned in the spring, but having a chance to kind of teach again. I've been in an administrative capacity, but having a chance to be in front of kids with the Elevate project. My lyrical sis, Shakia Danielson, invited us in to be mentors. And so Elevate just provided a door for us to just work with kids, to just share their natural gifts and to, even explore some of the things inside themselves that they didn't even know was there. And so it was just a blessing to have a chance to work with those youth, to see them put pen to paper, to add gesturing and to just emphasis, and for them to just write and perform. I mean, it was just a beautiful experience. I can't wait to do it again.
Well, I think that's one of the things when we have a gift and we're able to craft that gift and our talent, being able to then see it in the next generations. I mean, we were gifted by your daughter on stage. I mean, at Juneteenth. Literally, how has that been? Because now you're seeing it in your baby girl.
I think it just speaks to legacy, right? When we think about our ancestors and us being their wildest dreams in so many ways, and the ways in which we pass down history and our art forms, and then to see it just right in your own household. I mean, gosh, it fills me every day to see her just be her own self, but to just see pieces of myself and her father in her. It's a beautiful thing. And then seeing students just across the city find ways to express themselves, to share. There's so much beauty and giftedness and brilliance in our babies, and we have to make sure that we're pulling them out. Like the focus of SPS right now is joy. How are we finding ways to access that joy and giving folks chances to express that? And so, yeah, it's just dope.
Lastly, I got to say it because you're absolutely right. I mean, you're an educator at heart, right? And this has been an opportunity to do that. But I think COVID really brought out the fact that we need to be talking about some things that make other folks uncomfortable. And you do that so well, the way you weave it in your pieces. What is it for you that makes you feel like, now is the time to really be speaking about these particular issues that I think a lot of us have been dealing with in silos?
Absolutely. I think just coming together as a collective, I think so many of us had a chance to just pause. For all the way this pause was forced upon us, we had a chance to really think about what is important. And, with the competing pandemics, if we can call them that, with George Floyd and the death and murder of him, and then this health pandemic that we've had to reconcile who we are as a people, as a country, as a nation. And so I think the urgency for artists to speak out, to use their platforms to influence and to inspire, but also to hold people accountable is why I've been inspired to write. And so I challenge myself to, how can I make a point in 2 minutes and 30 seconds? And so to do that creatively, it's not me. I just got to give all glory to God. It's not me. And so I just want to challenge others to do the same. Find your gift, find your art, access that, take your profession and weave it together and figure out how you can access that joy, hold folks accountable, and also inspire the generations of now and those to come.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful words. Tia, Naché,
y'all.
Thank you. I mean, literally amazing as always. We're so glad that you were here to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You guys, I got to end the show right on this beautiful Throwback Thursday with my guy, Big O, coming back onto the Paramount stage with me. Stay tuned after this short break. You guys are watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and it has just been phenomenal up here at the Paramount, Big O.
Yeah, no, it's another day of great entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And also, I want to include here that Betty Michael's part of the More Music at the More programming. You know, and it's all kinds of people in the comments like, where do we find the music?
Yeah, they're trying to make sure they understand. I mean, I gotta say, such a smooth voice on Betty Michaels, and he brought it today with his skills too. Oh man, I'm loving it.
It's so much talent that's out here. And the piece Etienne did was so fitting, especially with Stephanie Johnson-Toliver talking about the history there at the Moore Theater and the door at the Moore. And I think that what's been great in the last 12 months is that there's a lot of history here. We talk about it all the time, that Seattle is a city we aspire to be, but we can't quite get to where we aspire to be until we tell our whole truth and our whole history. And these are an opportunity here, even around entertainment, arts, and culture, to be able to tell the history of our city.
Yeah, and that's why, pieces like what Tia did is so important, because when we talk about how we cement that history and bring it to the artist stage, I think it's important. We saw this with, how the explosion of like visual art right there in the CHOP. I mean, we saw this, and I think it's so important because those pieces are always going to be there, right? They're created now.
Art.
They're a part of the fabric of what Seattle is. And even when we think about the Seattle stand-up exhibit, it just takes me back to the only ways that we have real progress is when we do all put into it. So I just love seeing this, loved hearing her piece. I think You're absolutely right.
But before we get out of here today, we always got to give a lot of space and grace to Stephanie Johnson-Toliver. Yeah. A story, and you never want to cut short, but somebody we didn't get to talk to today was Marisol Sanchez-Best. And she's been so active behind the scenes, made that very first phone call to Converge months ago and started to build a relationship. And what people see here, this production that's here at the Paramount, has to do with that community engagement, the intentional community engagement of the STG and Marisol and her office over there. So we didn't get to talk to her today on camera, but definitely want to acknowledge the efforts of Marisol Sanchez-Best.
I mean, yeah, you guys, for all of you that don't see what's going on behind you, man, Marisol has been here every day making sure that there's a great lineup of guests that are part and parcel of the STG family and the community they're building. But I think it also, one thing we've been talking about as a thorough line this week is Seattle Theater Group being intentional to connect with community. And I see Marisol doing that every single day that we've been here at the Paramount, for sure.
It's been a load. And tomorrow is Friday. It's Feel Good Friday. And so tomorrow we've got Rail Be Free. Yay. We've got the Northwest Tap Connection. We got a surprise. We got a teen freestyler, a young lady is coming in, is going to freestyle. Some of you guys, people in the neighborhood know who I'm talking about because she's been popping up freestyling everywhere. And really, if you know the whole story, it really is a feel-good story that she'll be here tomorrow. We're also joined by Ricardo Frazier. Me and Ricardo go way back. Ricardo gave me one of my first jobs out of college, hardroad.com. I was a writer on the road. I used to visit juke joints in country bars up and down the South, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and I'd write stories on up-and-coming bands. And this was, man, so many years ago when I had just graduated from school, and Ricardo Frazier gave me a job on the hard road, writing stories and filming video for bands. And so it's going to be great. I haven't seen them in a long time. Also, we're going to have council member Deborah Juarez, Seattle City Council member Deborah Juarez, and also we're going to have former council member, but it still has the title, Larry Gossett. Yeah. So Larry Gossett will be here tomorrow as well. There's a few other guests. Tomorrow is packed. It's loaded. So we've got a great show, great lineup for tomorrow. We're really excited for it. We're going to end the week out great here at the Paramount. It's been fabulous. I know we're way over time, but it's way worth it today. Any last words, Trey, before we get out of here?
You guys know, for me, I mean, see yourself as a part of the solution. That's important. You know, as we've seen with all the guests that have been here on the Morning Update show this week in particular, I love seeing the plethora of solutions that are being created by people bringing their brilliance to bear. So I encourage you. I hope you've been inspired by that and that it makes you do something extra and see yourself as a part of an amazing solution as well.
Yeah, a few programming notes. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Clapback Culture, Julia Jesse and Mike Davis, who want to tune in for that. And, man, this is just, I'll be honest with you, I'm just here in the moment as we look up here and this story theater, you know, this is always a big deal as a kid, just to be in the Paramount and to stand here on this stage. You know, I mean, I told my mom I was going to do better at being in the moment. You know, I mean, because I move so fast and I forget about stuff. I'm like, man, we did that. But be in the moment. This is dope. On that note, want to remind everybody, go forward in your purpose. Go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., live here from the Paramount. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Sing it again now. The victory is won. Victory is won.